Adam Lerner, and welcome to another edition of the Friday Flickr Photo Critique. This week we have a very interesting photo set from a photographer named Anthony, and from what I can gather, a good bit of this, or maybe the majority of this, are street shots taken on the streets of Japan, maybe Tokyo. They're candids primarily, and they're shot on film. And I think that Anthony's using a variety of different film cameras and different film as well. This is a street shot where, he's got kind of a busy street scene, and there's this one girl that's kind of making eye contact with him, or at least, she is in the frame in such a way that she is definitely drawing your eye. You've got somebody else kind of giving a look over here. This guy's kind of checking Anthony out. So there's some really interesting dynamics here. I also like how thick this background is, how you can actually really see a lot of what's going on back here to kind of get a sense of what's going on. This is 3200 ISO Ilford, which is amazing film. You can shoot in such low light, but it's so thick. And it is grainy, but that's part of the charm of this film. And this was shot with a Minolta Dynax 7. I don't know what that is. But I really like it. It's really cool. This next image over here, this was shot, let's see, just moving along on my second monitor so I can look at some of the more information. This was shot with a Zorky, which is a Russian rangefinder camera, which is kind of like, I guess it was like, a cheaper version of a Leica. And cheaper meaning that the build quality I don't think is comparable. However, they're very cool cameras. They're easy to come by, or easy enough. They're not that expensive, and there's some really cool results. And from what Anthony said when he reached out to me, is that I believe that he actually learned on this camera. Now, the things that I love about this shot is the slow shutter speed. I love how you've got the train in motion with the people on the queue, and what looks to be either, I would imagine that these are maybe people on the other side of the tracks, or they're reflections. Maybe these are like this guy is reflected over here and she's reflected over there. I don't know. It's really interesting seeing the shapes of these people, and then the shapes of them kind of silhouetted on the moving train. The image is a little bit dark. It's a little bit out of focus, but I don't really mind it. I think that this is just all about the timing and the perspective here, and I think both of those things really work cool. And let's see, let's go on a little bit further to the next shot right here. And this shot was taken, he's saying that this was another Zorky shot with Fuji Neopan 400, a little bit sharper, a little bit less grainy. And this was in Tokyo, street shot. And these kind of shots are really cool, just standing right in the center of the street and just shooting down the block. You get a real sense of like time of day, you get a sense of time of year, you get a sense of just time in general. This is one of those shots that the black and white gives it a bit of a timeless feel, and especially with these older signs that you have here. However, the cars, the vehicles, what people are wearing kind of identify, the place in time. So this shot has like one of those really nice timeless feels. And I like the kind of like bluish tint that's on this. Maybe that's just the film itself. All right, moving on. Let's see. That was a... Sorry, well, there's EXIF information on his Flickr page, which I will share with you guys, so you guys can look a little bit further at the information. I'm just going to give you guys some brief overviews. This is another train queue shot that I thought was really cool. And, the thing that's really interesting about this is, how the platform really draws your eye in to this bridge, and then the reflection of this bridge, forming this like perfect circle over here. It just really has this really nicely balanced, framing right here, and it totally draws your eye in. I mean, this is really super cool. I like how all these little forms here form textures that are kind of repeated in the shrubbery down here. It's just one of those kind of cool shots that again gives you a real sense of place. And I think it's cool. This was ISO 400 Tri-X with a Jupiter 8 lens at f11. Again, shot with the Zorky. So very cool, very cool. And let's see, we'll be moving on. Okay, this is another train shot, and I guess Anthony is probably, maybe he's shooting a lot when he's commuting, maybe he's just attracted to trains, whatever. But you know, this is kind of cool. The thing about this shot is that, you know, it's definitely candid, and he's, you know, captured, like, you know, a little bit of a vignette with these two girls that are kind of talking over here. There's, you know, some other things happening over here. I get the sense from looking at this shot that, you know, he might have just kind of stealthily pulled this off. Maybe just held the camera up to his face, you know, and then just, and then ducked away. I wouldn't have minded if he, you know, was a little bit closer, you know, maybe if he just walked a little bit closer to these girls and took that shot. You know, the angle's a little bit skewed, but, you know, that's the thing with pulling off, you know, candid street shots, is that, you know, you've got an instant to do it. You know, you don't really necessarily always want to get busted. And it's cool. And, you know, these the strap hanger handles here, really cool. You know, you've got the you know, the Japanese writing. You know, it really gives you a sense that you are in another or in this place in Tokyo. So I like that quite a lot. Moving on. Okay, how can you argue with this? You know, you got some dude on a little cycle here, and you know, maybe he's an official because he's got, you know, this striped pant with this kind of, I don't know what you would call that. You know, maybe this is a utility belt or something. And, you know, this is one of those really cool shots where, you know, he just had the camera and he just followed along and was panning in at the right moment, got that background all washed out. And, you know, the subject itself is not 100% sharp, but that's okay because this is a motion shot. And I really like the framing of this one. You know, I like everything about it. I just think that, again, it's another one of these like Tokyo street shots, you know, that really works really nicely. And this was, again, taken with the Zorky Neopan 400. So I guess that Neopan has like that kind of bluish tint, which is really cool. I like it quite a bit. All right, and we are moving on here. And we've got some dude just kind of taking a little bit of a snooze in the park. This is also taken with the Zorky, with the Neopan, and you know, there's something really kind of nice about the framing of this. You know, you've got this guy, you've got, you know, his body, you know, the way he's kind of stretched out on this thing, you know, breaking up these lines and shapes that you have from the fence here, from the tiles over here. Then you've got this nice textural detail from these leaves over here and this branch hanging over, just really kind of framing this really nicely over here. And the fact that you've got, you know, the silhouetted buildings in the background and this crane gives you a sense, you know, that we are in a city. You know, you can see that there's some, you know, Japanese writing on this building over here. So it really kind of ties the whole thing together. I like the way the light is falling on his face. If there's any kind of comment that I would give to this shot, is that it's a little bit skewed to the right, you know, like it's just dropping to the right. I wouldn't mind just seeing it more justified, but that could just be the way that this park was, because if you look at the buildings, it's not like the buildings are super slanted. So anyway, just nice layering here. You know, you've got nice layering of the form, the fence, the shrubbery, and then the buildings way off in the distance. So I really feel that this is well seen. Okay, so moving on here, and this shot is, you know, this is kind of interesting. This was taken again in Tokyo. This was with the Zorky, ISO 400 Fuji, and you know, you've got this person here who's, you know, looking like a little bit down and out. And it's kind of interesting, you know, how, again, this is another one of those street shots. You've got this stairwell right here that, you know, that is kind of like cutting through the frame, really draws your eye in right to this form, which is obviously the subject of this form. You've got this couple kind of walking along over there and schoolgirls coming down over here. You know, this is a really nice moment in time. You know, I really don't have anything bad to say about this. I mean, I just think that, again, this is well seen. I mean, I wouldn't have minded maybe if he was had a little bit of a lower angle on this or got a little bit closer. But again, these are candids, these are street shots, and, you know, sometimes you get what you get when you get it. So that's very cool. And let's move on here. Okay, now this is another shot of, you know, somebody who's maybe down and out. And, you know, this was Tri-X, you know, with the Zorky in Tokyo. This shot, I feel like, maybe, he could have cropped out this area over here, or really just, I just feel like he could have gotten a little bit closer, maybe a little bit of a lower angle. I think that there's a lot of stuff that's kind of working here. You've got this nice diagonal line cutting through the frame, this one here. You've got these other lines going over here. So that intersection of lines is very cool. And again, you're still drawn to the subject over here. This form that's closest to me, I'm not crazy about that, but again, it's a candid, it's a street shot, and it's cool. And let's be moving on here. This is probably my favorite shot of the set. And, it's just one of those things where it's like, you're in this tunnel and, you've got this incredible light gathering at a certain point in the tunnel. And the fact that he's got this person or this kid or whoever it is kind of like coming through that, silhouetted through it, really makes this a strong image. I like all the shapes and the lines and the symmetry of this. The tones are really cool. This was also shot with Fuji Neopan ISO 400 with the Zorky 4. So, I just want to give real huge props to Anthony. He said that he's relatively new to photography, that he learned on this Zorky, which is not an easy camera to use. I mean, it's a fully manual camera, fully manual focus. It's a rangefinder. So I don't know if you've ever played with a rangefinder, but particularly when the finder on that camera is really small and you're trying to line things up and you're maybe in a setting like this where it's a little bit, dark, whatever, you don't have a lot of time. All of those things combined and trying to get your exposure right is no easy task. So I think that Anthony did a really nice job with this. I love that he's shooting film. He did mention that he does shoot digitally, but only when it's really, for, other kinds of work, parties and I think maybe weddings he mentioned like that. So a lot of what he's shooting film is for personal work. And I do the same. I love shooting film. I love getting out there. I love challenging myself. And I think that he's done a really nice job with his street shot photography set from Tokyo. So that's it for now. If you want to submit your 10 best for Friday Flickr photo critique, please email them to adamlernerphoto@gmail.com. We can do a Flickr set. We could do a 500 pic set. Just, make a set of 10 and send them over my way. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And you can always email me at adamlernerphoto@gmail.com. That's it for now, and we'll see you soon.